確かに。
これそっくりだけど。
うちの子可愛いでしょ。
Great animation there.
絶対違う。
Whoa. Selim.
しぶといやつだな。
Whoa. Just ran someone's bump?
あらあら、ごめんなさいね。
いえ、休みしててすみません。
珍しい衣装ね。外国の方？
シンから来ました。
あらまあ、観光かしら？イーストシティって見るところないでしょう。
いえ、乗り継ぎで寄っただけで。
Okay.
これから北へ行くんです。
3番ホームから出発の列車は
Kind of sounds like a man, if I'm being honest.
ご利用の方はお急ぎ
気をつ
ください。
けてね。変わった猫ちゃんね。
So they don't know they don't know pandas, do they? Interesting character. Ah. Oh, so they split up, okay. Smart. It's smart to split up. The ever present. Look at this.
ここが昨日。西ですか。
こちらは重軽傷者数名を出しました。
スカーも必死なのでしょう。それにしても目立ちすぎですね。
Kimberly. It's not gonna be that easy to fool Kimberly. Who is that? Okay, clearly someone important. Kimberly?
まあいいでしょう。私に
He
は
knows?
関係ない。
お葬式ですのね。
Yeah, that's definitely a man's voice.
はあ、そのようですが、何をおっしゃいますか、ご婦人。見たところまだお若い。
Oh! I knew it sounded
待
like
ち
a
合わせ
man.
はヒューズ准将のお墓の前でしたわよね。念には念を入れ変装してきたのよね。
いや、さすが変人と名高いグルマン閣下。予想外の変装です。
なるほど。セントラル上層部はすべて黒か。しかし情報と引き換えに失ったもの多すぎ。
But that shot
信用できる
was...
部下を引き剥がされちゃったら元も子もないでしょう。少し昔わしがセントラルにいた頃にね、
Okay, bit of a
レイ
flashback
ブに
perhaps?
聞かれたよ。完全なる不死の軍団に興味はないかとな。
不死の軍団。ホムンクルスのことか。
そしたらその後すぐわし東方司令部に飛ばされちゃった。
リオールは大混乱に陥りましたが、初期の段階で東方軍が迅速に行動して暴動を抑えることができました。
がセントラル軍が出張ってきて東方軍はお払い箱にされた。だったっけな。
That's a great shot.
グラマン閣下ともあろうお方が地方の長で満足する気などかけらもないのでしょう。イシュバールを経験した屈強な兵を要する東方軍を持っておられるというのに。
極秘連絡用メモを使うのはわしに泣きつく時だと思っていたが、わしを焚きつけるためにここに呼んだか。やれやれ。セントラルが面白いことになってきたおかげで消えかかっていた野望の火種
They've been ignited.
がまた燃え上がってきたわい。
Okay, Grumman,
気を
let's
出すと
go.
化粧が崩れますよ。
あらいけない。
Ah, there you go. That's not the alchemy of this place. Not gonna find much.
なんでこんなに練炭術の記述が少ねえんだよ。そう、真にはだって本物なのか。
Maybe.
いやしかし、オートメールであの砂漠声は。
Ah!
見つけたぞ、エドワード・エロリック。
Look at this angle.
お主、白黒猫を連れた真の少女を追っておるらしいな。
おう。
Look at the size of that head, man. That could take a
マス
hit.
タング大佐に聞いた。今日、我が輩は大佐の使いだ。その少女、北へ向かうらしいぞ。イーストシティから北へ行くと言っていた。
But it's also
来たか。よし、そんだけ分かりゃ動ける。
持って行け。
なんだこれ。
oh, that's his family
紹介
seal.
状だ。役に立たん
I
か
saw
も
the
し
little
れん
swirl
が
on top.
まず、会え。
あえて誰に。
北方司令部よりさらに北、ドラクマとの国境を守り、
ドラクマ
ブリックスの北壁の異名を持つ将軍、
Whoa.
アームストロング少将だ。
Whoa. Hello. So is that's gotta be Yoke?
急げ。
Or is it Marco?
もう逃げられんぞ。
That's Yoki, right? I mean, he was making it really clear that he's scarred. Look at me, I'm scarred. I'm running out and about. So there's a lot of tactics going on here, right? Oh, they're gonna jump. They're gonna jump. And he's gone.
どこへ。
これといった練炭術の記述は見つからないな。
There's a reason for that.
あのメイってこの遠隔連星術すごかったな。
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
あれ使えたらいいな。ノックス先生のところにいるときにもっと
Oh, is that him,
聞いておけばよかった。
鋼の錬金術師さんの兄弟
Hey, he actually knows the
大木
difference.
ですか？
そうだけど。
エルリック兄弟はこの錬金術先進国のアメストリスで
Ah,
国
mistress.
家資格を取れるほどの腕利きなんでしょ？それが
Maybe not.
なん
Maybe
で他
not.
国のマイナーな錬金術を調べて
The
るん
minor
ですか？
alchemy.
練炭術は医学方面に特化してるというからね。
It's not a complete lie.
人の命を救う技術として新たな可能性がないか研究してるのさ。
God damn it, take it easy.
行くぞ。
Loud as hell.
兄さん、図書館でお静かに。
鎧さんのお兄さんってことは国家錬金術師のエドワードさん？
おう。
噂通りちっちゃい錬金術師だ。噂通り小さいって言ったらぶち切れるんだ。
Yeah, his reputation.
セリム様から離れろ。
撃っちゃダメですよ。
大総統の息子の。
はいそうです。
Oh.
なんでこうなるんだ。俺たち北に行くはずだろう。
セリム君は錬金術が好きなの？
僕も錬金術を習って
Is it
エド
now?
ワードさんみたいな国家錬金術師になるのが夢です。
俺に憧れて。
そしてお父さんの役に立ちたいんです。
Alright. Yeah, he said that. But they have a different perspective on this.
お父さんってどんな人かな。
立派な人です。普通の人なら値を上げてしまうような激務にも耐え、毎日国民のことだけを考えて行動しています。
そうなんだ。
You know, it's-
大総統は毎日忙しそうだものね。
昔から仕事一辺倒の人でね。仕事はできるけど女心のわからない当変木だったわ。もう失礼な男で私ビンタ張ってしまったの。お付き合いを始めて最初のデートがこれまた。あらいけない、のろけ話になってしまっ
she
たわ
really
ね。
fell for him. Speak of the devil. They're gonna get to see the really nice side of him. He adores him. Look at him, man.
そうか、図書館で出会ったのか。
Now he's gonna try to dig about the topic. And Salim's gonna slip up. Though Salim doesn't know.
似てないと言いたいのかね。
そういうわけじゃ。
この子と血のつながりはない。 親思いで優しい子に育ってくれた。
やめてよ、お父さ
that
ん。
he has,
恥ずか
but
しいです。
本当のことだろう。
this is gonna confuse him so much.
何かね。私にも家族がいるんだよ。こんな私にもね。君たちの家族とは少し違うが。
He's always gotta remind them.
行くぞ。
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at this.
奥さんも息子さんも大総統がホムンクルスだってこと。
とにかく来たな。
I have a few questions about their
別の女と捕まえて
relationship.
練炭術の秘密聞き出してやれ。
そうまんまと逃げおせましたか。この間のどこかでスカートマルコは消えた。
In the mountains.
飛び降りることは可能ですか。
できなくはないでしょうが、とても危険です。
Oh, they took their
そうです
chances.
か。
You don't say.
北か南か。
北に行くのってもしかしたら初めてじゃない？
そうだな。
To the north. Okay, so I've officially reached the midpoint of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's a good feeling, it really is. And you know, because of some of the recent changes, I'm going to get through the second half of the series much faster. So essentially, April, right? I should be able to finish the series in April. 8 episodes a month, essentially, right? Give or take 7, 8. But yeah, it's exciting, man. It's exciting. But also, I think this might actually be the first true breather episode in some time, right? You know, and you know, just because it might be a breather episode doesn't mean it was lacking or anything, right? There's actually a lot of really cool things playing out here and being set up here, right? It's essentially, you know, ticking along, right? You see that Mustang is still putting in the hours. He's still slowly kind of trying to recover, you know, step by step, one move at a time, as kind of depicted and set up in the last episode, right? Yes, he might be just by himself for now, you know, the king, but he can still make some moves. And he has essentially successfully recruited Grumman. Grumman, that is some character, isn't it? You know, certainly a bit of a master of disguise. You know, essentially it appears that he likes dressing up in his own time, perhaps, and that's totally cool. That's fine, you know? And you see that Mustang kind of alludes to this, right? Maybe, you know, it's starting to make sense, the reputation you have, you know, being this eccentric individual, this man, eccentric man. But yeah, it appears that Grumman's fire has been reignited and Mustang gives him the spark, right? Mustang gives him the spark. It's a really interesting scene. Yes, you know, at first there's a lot of comedic moments, but actually, before I go any further, even if Grumman appears to be a bit of a master of disguise, Kimberly sees right through it. You know, he knows, he figured it out. And that's kind of crazy, isn't it? I mean, Kimberly is so damn impressive in this episode, right? That might actually make him scarier for many, right? To be that intelligent, but also be psychotic at the same time. Though he, you know, he keeps it in check. He keeps himself in check. He's actually surprisingly quite in line out there, right? Kind of staying within the law for now, at least. You know, I'm sure once he does kind of come across Scar and perhaps others, you know, the gloves are going to come off, right? Rules and all that out the window, right? But yeah, I thought he was so damn impressive in this episode, right? Highly perceptive. I mean, he's a damn good detective from the looks of it, he's putting in the time, the effort. I'm getting more and more reasons to really like this character. It's a fascinating character, folks. And again, his philosophy is so damn intriguing to me. These types of characters are really a treat. They really are. But yeah, it appears that even he was able to kind of deduce that it's the North. Now, maybe I'll get something a bit more concrete in terms of how he comes to that conclusion. But if he did come to that conclusion, I mean, the visual animation there makes it seem like, yeah, he thinks it's up north. So, you have multiple parties heading to the same place. It's this formula that's been kind of a reoccurring theme throughout this anime so far, 32 episodes in, and it's always a recipe for success. It's always exciting, it's always bombastic, it's always full of revelations and turning points and intersections. So I'm excited now. These multiple parties seem to be heading to the north. And speaking of the north, holy shit, I get this really exciting introduction, right? Or a tease or a hint at some of the characters up north. I mean, you see 3 of them, right? Of course, the one sitting down is the really prominent character here, an Armstrong, General Armstrong. He says Shogun, but again, that's General, right? In Japanese. But anytime I hear Shogun, my ears kind of perk up. But yeah, really cool looking characters, really cool character designs for all 3 of them. But, General Armstrong, I mean, yeah, man, I would like to say hello. So I'm excited for that. And hopefully, it really focuses on that in the next few episodes, that whole going to the north arc, I suppose. But yeah, it's clearly a family member, but I'm not sure about the relation yet. I'm sure I'll get to find out soon enough. But yeah, a letter of recommendation from the homie, from the big homie Armstrong, who looked so much bigger than usual even, right? Though, I guess if you are going to bring his head really close to Ed's head, you are going to kind of see the difference, right? Like I said, that man could take a hit. He could take a baseball bat to that head. But I thought it was really cute to see the family crest, the Armstrong family crest. You've got the mustache and then you've got the swirl. It's exciting setup. It really is. The northern, something about the northern walls of Briggs. Now that's not her nickname, right? I guess that's just the name of the place, right? Briggs, the northern walls of Briggs. In this case, he said it was farther north than Northern Command, right? It was essentially kind of protecting the border. He mentioned another place, but going back to Kimberly, knowing that was Grumman that just kind of passed by. I mean, I love this dude. I love this. Like I said, I love these types of characters because he immediately just brushes it off. He's like, not my problem, right? he's just chaotic in that sense, isn't he? And he's right. It's not his problem. He's not the type who's going to go run to the teacher and be like, oh, I saw Grumman sneaking about looking like old grandma. But yeah, Kimberly, if he wasn't already, formidable enough, now you get to see this side of him. Detective Kimberly, perceptive, highly perceptive Kimberly. I mean, he could really excel in this line of work. He could. Now, in terms of the people he is trying to track down, I think I've landed on the first person in the train station being Marco, because you see that May goes up to him, right, and kind of has to help him get up and really is kind of guiding him. So I'm guessing that's Marco, given that he was recently injured, by design, of course, because May's not going to be grabbing Yoki by the hand and guiding him. There's no need for that. It just wouldn't make sense. So yeah, it appears that May and Marco took a train. Right, they're headed up north, and then of course, through Mustang, and then through Armstrong, Ed and Al get this information, this intel, and they are heading to the north as well. Quick little post-credit scene. A little detail I like here is that you see the change of clothing for Ed, right? He's got a snazzy new coat on, so I like it. I like it anytime animation does this, because in animation, it is one of those things that's really quite noticeable. Characters have the same outfit on for a long, long time, right? But, you know, these kind of changes, it really kind of helps ground it a bit. It really kind of enhances it, doesn't it? The experience of it all. But yeah, it was really quite effective. So they took that train, but then you have Scar and Yoki essentially, you know, really putting themselves out there. Scar is really putting himself out there. And of course, Kimberly picks up on that as well, you know, because he can think, you know, he can think like Scar, right? These are really unique people. And Kimberly, that's one of the assets, right? Essentially having Kimberly, because he can think like some of these people. You know, he doesn't think like a normal person. So yeah, Scar certainly put himself on display, out and about. You know, it makes sense now. It makes sense now that he disfigured Marco's face, but, you know, one of the most recognizable faces at the moment, Scar, nothing, you know. he's just out here running, but again, by design. So I'm guessing that train he jumps on is a different train. And then, of course, you know, as deduced by Detective Kimberly, yeah, they kind of jumped off at the midpoint, right? So the hunt is on, the chase is on. And then, of course, lastly, let's kind of focus on the adorable Selim. I mean, this is a lovely lad, you know, really quite adorable. And I think the voice acting is just top tier. You know, it feels like a young kid. You know, the cadence, the excitement, you know, the starstruck Selim is just so damn cute. You know, it feels like it's a young child, the excitement of a young child. And I feel like in a lot of dubs to anime in general, you can tell that it's a grown-ass person trying to put on a kid's voice. But yeah, it was lovely to see him around the Elric brothers, right? He clearly idolizes them. You know, he dreams of being a state alchemist himself one day. So, you know, of course, it makes sense that he idolizes these really impressive young men, you know, Ed and Al. And I loved how he was kind of cheeky as well, right? You see that he really adores both the brothers, but, you know, he's heard the stories about Ed and his short fuse, essentially, and he kind of leans into it. And just the voice acting there, it was so adorable. I found it so lovely. You know, as Ed is kind of, you know, again, blowing up, and he's like, oh, so it is true, you know, your reaction to being called small. But yeah, you know, that was great. That was great. Now, you know, I thought for sure, Al, speaking of alchemy and that he is taking an interest and studying it, I thought for sure that might come up in that conversation. I mean, it still could off screen. You know, maybe King Bradley is going to ask him about their meeting and the things they spoke of or talked about. So yeah, let's see if that comes back to kind of bite them in the ass. Their pursuit of alchemy. Now shifting the focus to the Bradley residence, the King Bradley residence, you know, again, there's a lot of lovely moments, but then again, it takes a bit of a tonal shift the moment the homie, the big man himself, comes in, right? There's something really quite unique about that because, you know, there's two different conversations going on. You know, one conversation that only King Bradley and the Elric brothers are in on, and then one conversation that all of them are in on, or not in on, because from Selim and do I have a name? If I do, I kind of forgot. But yeah, his wife. You know, they don't understand. You know, they're kind of looking at it just from the surface level because they have no reason to really dig any further. But yeah, you know, King Bradley really puts Ed in his place, doesn't he? Right? Takes digs at him, belittles him even. You know, or belittles his family structure. Unless I'm reading that scene wrong, you know, to me it felt like him bringing up, you know, the dysfunctional nature of his family and the things that have happened and perhaps happened because of him as well. You know, in comparison to this loving family this Selim has, I thought maybe that is a bit of a dig at that as well. And then, you know, a few parting shots as he's about to walk out. You know, he calls him state alchemist. Right, that at the end of the day, you are a tool to me. I mean, he really establishes control the moment he came into that room. But going back to Selim, you know, he's adorable, all right. But, you know, the uneasy feeling I have about this, and this kind of goes back to the first time I even came across Selim, is that he's a little too adorable, a little too innocent. You know, I've been there, you know, I've seen the things that have happened in this anime to young children or the things that could happen to young children, you know, and of course, they lean into that line of dialogue, right? The subtext. You know, I really want to help father one day. I really hope to help father one day. This is the second time they've kind of done this, right? it's kind of like a thing that the audience is in on, because us, the audience, knows that, there is a father, the father, down below as well, right? So our mind can almost, immediately kind of attach it to that as well. Though, Selim, from, his innocent perspective, he's just speaking of his own father that he really does love quite a bit. Though, you see that there's a bit of sadness there too, because he doesn't get to see his father as much as he would like, because his father is off, thinking and caring for the people of this nation. Even that, right? It's kind of a thing that the audience is in on. So yeah, Selim, let's see how it plays out. I mean, the episode title is kind of devoted to the character, right? So, you have to be kind of cautious around children, and, especially the fact that around the time I first see Selim, King Bradley himself said something along the lines of, yeah, maybe you can be helpful one day, right? I thought that was a little bit ominous. But yeah, it was interesting to see Ed and Al's reaction to this, to see such a loving family that loves and adores King Bradley. And from the other end, King Bradley, who seems to adore them as well. Now, to me, it's all, I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes it feels like, yes, there's actual, there's actual love there, perhaps, that he actually cares for these individuals, Selim and his wife. But then at other times, it kind of feels like it's a front just for appearances. Now, I got a bit of a backstory here, and I need to correct myself. I said she fell for him, but actually it feels like he fell for her. There's that fun moment as she described the first meeting, or described some of his attitude as a younger person. So much so that she had to slap him. King Bradley, the homie King Bradley, or the homie Wrath, he seems to have liked that. He seems to have liked her attitude and that fire that she does have. Perhaps she was a bit of a firecracker in her younger days as well. So, clearly he was attracted to that. And also, before I sign off, Selim, you see that he has quite the education, or his education kind of specifies that, the alchemy of our country is the greatest alchemy, that it's far superior than the minor alchemy of places like Jing, right? So you see that's been established in the history of this country, in the teachings of this country, the education of this country, perhaps. So yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. That Selim, this young child, has that type of knowledge, right? Or that's the things he's been taught. But yeah, he comes in, makes it clear that, I could kill your family, I could kill your loved ones at a moment's notice. I'm the one in control here. You just sit there. You just sit there and smile. Yeah, I thought he was really quite effective in that scene. But yeah, I think that's about it for this one, folks. Yeah, a bit of a shorter discussion, but I feel like I've covered all the things I really needed to talk about in this episode. Like I said, it's kind of moving along, but it did feel like a bit of a breather episode as well, right? So there's not that much detail to go into, but I thought it was a great episode nonetheless. Right then, so if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access, and there should be 3 episodes of early access at this point, and it is going to be 4 episodes at some point as well, and there's also full length, timer-based full length. If you are interested, consider checking out the Patreon page. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to the social media, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.